Good morning, Michael. Here's your machine, the Breville Barista Express BES870. This is a brushed stainless steel model. So as you saw in the photos, it's in decent condition. I'll give it a maybe 7 out of 10. So it's not too bad, except around the front drip tray. There's a few scratches and dings as you would expect from a used machine. Yeah, it works fine. I did a full service on it, a full clean. I tested all the functions, no problems at all. And in this video, I'll be demonstrating it functioning and making a latte. So, going through pretty much all the features on the machine. So when you first turn it on, it usually takes about a minute to reach temperature. When you see the lights go on, that means it's ready to make a coffee. And that means the boiler is up to temperature. But if you wanted to get a great coffee, it's better to heat up the machine. So you can heat up the machine either by letting it stay on for about 10 or 20 minutes. So when you let it on, all that heat from the boiler will dissipate into the water filter, the grip head, the drip tray, the cup warming tray. So you can put your cups up here and they'll get nice and warm. Or if you want, you can run a blank shot. So if you're in a hurry, you don't want to wait 10 or 20 minutes, I would recommend at least running a blank shot before making a coffee to warm up the machine. A blank shot is just a double shot of hot water without any coffee in the water filter, and you can put your cup underneath so that your cup gets nice and hot as well. And this will also clean any sort of coffee grounds or oils that are stuck in the grip head. So I like doing it even on my personal machine. Fantastic. So you can do that once or twice. I think once should be enough for this video because the machine has been on for like 5 minutes. So it's kind of warm as well. Keep that on the side. And now let's grind the coffee. So you want to take out the portafilter, drain all the water, and give it a wipe with a tissue or a cloth. You want it to be fully dry before grinding the coffee. I'm going to use a scale to measure what I put in and what I get out of the machine. So you don't really need a scale, but I use a scale just because it makes my shots more consistent, I believe. It also tells me if I have the right amount or not. So this is the double basket. Your machine comes with all 4 baskets, 2 of the doubles and 2 of the singles. That's because one of them is a single wall like this and the other is a dual wall. The dual wall variety are for pre-ground coffee. So if you buy your coffee for whatever reason you get a bunch of coffee pre-ground and not beans, you can use the dual wall baskets with the machine. But if you're using freshly ground coffee, just stick with this single wall double shot. This will take 18 grams of ground coffee approximately, and it's a double shot, but it's like 1 drink. So when you go to a cafe and ask for a latte, they will use the double shot basket. It's not for 2 cups. Well, you can split it into 2 cups if you wish to have 2 smaller coffees. Yeah, okay. So 18 grams of ground coffee I should be aiming for. I need to put the grind size at a number on the left here, at a number that makes the coffee go not too quickly but not too slowly. So it's like a Goldilocks ratio. So it has to be the correct grind size, because if it goes too quickly, the coffee will be sour and sort of diluted. If it goes too slowly, the coffee will be really bitter and really concentrated. So we don't want either of those. We want it to be nicely in the middle. So grind size number 4. I think it's roughly in the ballpark, judging by the look of the coffee grounds that come out. But the only way to know is to actually make a coffee on it. And for the grind amount, you can put it on double or single. I like to put it on single and do it twice, just because I think that's a bit neater of a solution. So I'm going to put it up the amount on 1 o'clock, and I'm going to keep it on single. I'll I'll be doing the single twice, so hopefully I'll be getting 9 grams at this setting. Nice. Let's see what we got. 8.8, yeah, I'm happy with that. I might keep it there, to be honest. So after your first grind, give it a temp to make it nice and compressed so that your next batch doesn't spill over. And that's 17.8. 17.8, yeah, I might keep it there. If I got 17 or maybe 17 and a half, I might top it up to 18, but anything above 17 and a half is close enough. Okay, so that's with grind size number 4, grind amount at 1 o'clock and on the single, using the Grinders brand of beans. Some beans will be harder to grind, some beans will be easier to grind, so your mileage may vary. You'll notice that some beans actually require a larger grind size. But yeah, I'll let you figure that out. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. Like I said, just start with the basics. Grind size number 4, this at 1 o'clock, this on single, and see how you go. A scale will be really helpful in making your coffees, you know, more consistent and getting a better shot. But if you don't have a scale, you can still make a decent coffee. That's how the baristas do it, at least. If you want to check that you have the correct amount, coffee amount, you want to grind your coffee, tamp it, and you should notice that once you tamp, obviously it will go deeper. If it goes as deep as this silver part, I mean the tamper will go deeper. If it goes as deep as this silver part, that means this is the correct depth. So now I have essentially 18 grams in the basket, and it goes as deep as this silver part. So sort of a nice way to eyeball your grind amount if you don't have a scale or if you're in a hurry, etc. If you overfill it and it's all the way to the top even after you press it, if it's all the way to the top, not good for the machine. It probably won't lock in if you have too much coffee. And similarly, if you have too little coffee, the water will just flush everything and your coffee will be watery. So you want it to be at the right depth. Hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming. I'm going to lock the pour filter. You don't have to go all the way to the right. I'll put it on like in the middle. That should be good enough. I'm going to drain the water from my cup now. You also have the hot water tap. So if you flick this away from you, you get nice hot water straight from the boiler, bypassing the group head and any coffee grounds that are in the group head. You can use this for long black coffees, tea bags, warming up your cups. I personally use it to get a bit of hot water into the bottom of my cup, so that when I add the sugar before the espresso, the sugar will be nice and dissolved and it mixes with the espresso nicely, I believe, if there's a bit of water. And mix it up. So now we measure the input as 18. We want to measure the output as twice of what we put in. So twice is 36 grams. So we want to aim for 36 grams of coffee coming out of the machine. Of espresso, I mean. So liquid coffee, not ground coffee. So for every gram of ground coffee, you want 2 grams of espresso. Or 2 grams of coffee. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. You don't have to stick to the numbers, you don't have to follow this religiously, but it's sort of a guide. If you want to start making coffee, it's good to follow that 2-to-1 guide. So I'll be doing that. Or if you don't have a scale, again, you can just sort of get this much coffee in this cup. Or frankly, just do whatever makes your coffee taste better. But in my case, I'll be aiming for 36 grams. I'll be programming the buttons for you. These two buttons, the single and the double, they're actually programmable, so you can make them whatever length you'd like. You can make it this short, this long, it's up to you. I'll make it give me 36 grams. So the way I program the machine is, after I've ground the coffee, tamped it down, prepared my cup, I will sort of put the cup under the spout, obviously. I'll press program, and then I'll press the button I want to program, and then I'll stop it again when it's reached the volume that I want. I'm also going to time it. Hopefully, if we did things right, we should be getting 36 grams in the 36 grams in about 20 to 30 seconds, if all goes well. It's a bit too much pressure. I think that's a bit too high, but that's okay. That was 25 seconds, and it looks like we got a good shot. That was good flow, good controlled flow. 32 grams, so a bit too small of a shot. So if we let it go for a couple seconds more, it would have been closer to 36. But that's okay. Like, as you see, we have good crema. The flow is nice and smooth. The pressure was nice and steady. Usually, I think Breville recommends you go for the grey zone. I frankly think that the bottom end of the grey zone is too low. So the top range of the grey zone is best. So around 11 o'clock, maybe 11 to 12 o'clock is the best. So that's around 9 to 10 bars. That's what most people say is the best. Mix up the coffee. So you want to mix up the crema, and you want to mix up any sweeteners that you have or sugar. And you can either have it as is or add milk to make it a latte. So I've got in my jug here. You want to get a metal jug that sort of transmits heat. If you use plastic or a plastic cup, it probably won't be fantastic. Just because it doesn't transmit heat if you're using plastic. I've filled the jug about halfway, so just below the spout line. I'm going to turn on the wand. It will take about 10-15 seconds to start steaming. And once it starts steaming to full pressure, I'll turn it off, position my jug, turn it back on. And the position I want to use is close to the surface of the milk that I have, at an angle, and close to the edge of the wand, of the jug, so that it spins it as it spins. I'm going to turn it off, put it close to the edge and turn it on. You want to hear that paper tearing sound, almost like ripping a piece of paper. For the first part of the steaming, that's what you should be hearing. So keep this up for 10 or 15 seconds. If you hear the sound, that means you're aerating the coffee and aerating the milk and giving it that bubbly texture. But then for the second half of the steaming, you don't want to hear that sound too much. So I'm going to raise the jug, dunk it deep into the milk, because we don't want it to aerate the milk too much, otherwise we're getting a very foamy milk, so we don't want that. Keep it spinning though at all times, and once it's too hot to touch, turn it off. So now it's about 60 degrees. I've turned it off. Give it a purge, and then turn it back off. The purge is really important. You don't want to block the hole. So purge it to remove any milk. Now it'll cool down. So the machine realizes that you're finished with steaming milk, and it cools down the boiler so that you can make another coffee. You see the buttons light up. Also important to give it a wipe obviously gets really hot as the steam flows through it, so it'll actually stick to the milk and it'll be really hard to remove if you don't clean it straight away. So the sooner the better. Don't neglect the other side. And that's it. And you obviously want to clean the portafilter as well. So grab yourself a knockbox if you don't have one. I think I have one for sale, I just have to look for it. Just knock it off like that. Very easy. And then rinse. So just double shot. Sorry, press the double button. If you want to reset the buttons, just hold program. I think I might reset it just because the coffee that I made on the double, the programming that I did, is a bit too short, so you can do that later. So pretty much just aim for this much coffee, maybe a bit more, and that's a double shot. Yeah, after the rinse, just grab your tissue, give the group head a wipe, make sure to wipe the seal, the shell screen. You don't want any coffee grounds to be accumulating over time. And that's it. Maybe lock it in loosely, not all the way if you're not using the machine. So just loosely, so that by the next time you turn it on, the portafilter will be nice and hot. Now, let's see what we got. So grab the milk jug, knock it on the counter a few times to break any air bubbles, and then swirl it around. Do this a few times until the surface is nice and smooth. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then pour. I'm not an artist, I'm not a barista, but every now and then I do get a pattern or a shape. I'm mostly concerned about the taste, frankly. So this is what we got. I was going for a heart there, but it got wrong at the end. So yeah, that's the latte that I made. It's looks great. I'm sure you can do better coffees than me, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the machine. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks.